Now we have power down these fuses, which we didn't have before. Okay, so we are bypassing the relay right now. Okay, so I'm gonna show you what I'm doing on the wiring diagram. So here's what I did at the fuse box. I hope you guys are following along, and I hope this is not confusing. I removed the relay and then I connected my test lead to pin 1 of the relay. I sent power down this pin, and when I send power down this pin, we have power at these fuses, which tells me that this leg of the circuit is good. Okay, so we know that these two legs of the circuit are good. We checked this one, we know this one is good, so now we're going to check this leg of the circuit now. So to check this leg of the circuit, we're going to get access to the switch. We're going to disconnect the electrical connector of the switch, because at this point we're almost done with our diagnosis. At this point, I put another relay over here on the socket of the power window relay. I checked my windows with the switch. The windows didn't work. So at this point, the problem is either the switch or the relay. Okay, but I believe we're dealing with a bad master switch, because the ECU inside the master switch is not sending ground to this relay. That's what I believe the issue is. But let's do one more test before we make a call. What I'm going to do now is, with the relay removed, I am going to connect my test lead to this pin of the relay. I'm going to send power to this pin of the relay while the relay is out. If I send power to this pin of the relay, power should flow down this wire that comes from the master switch. I'm going to disconnect the electrical connector of the master switch. If I send power down this way, we should have power over here at this wire at the master switch. So I'm going to get my test lead connected to this pin over here, and then I'm going to send power down this wire to see if we're going to have power over here. If we have power at the electrical connector of the master switch over here, after sending power down this pin, that will tell me that this wire is good, and at that point the problem will be the switch. I'm going to get that set up, and then I will bring you guys back up. We are back at the fuse box under the dash. We're going to use our yellow test lead. We're going to connect it to this pin over here. This pin is the relay pin that connects the relay to the wire that comes from the master switch. So this over here is the ground pin of the control of the relay. Okay, so we're going to connect that there, and then we're going to use our power probe to send power down this pin. Now I have my master switch disconnected, and I have a test light connected on the other side of this wire, the white wire with the green tracer that comes from the master switch. So that's the control wire of the relay. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to flip this to send power down this wire. And if this wire is good from the fuse box all the way to the master switch, when I flip this switch, my test light should light. So I'm going to bring you up here. I'm back probing the white wire with the green tracer that comes from the ECU that's inside the master switch. Okay, and my test light is connected to ground. So I'm going to get my power probe and connect it to this test lead. I'm going to send power here, so watch this. You see that? So when I send power down my test lead, the test light lights. Okay, so what does this tell us? So this tells us that the wire, the control wire from the master switch down to the fuse box under the dash is good. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to install this relay. We know this relay over here is good. Let me remove this relay here. We know we have 2 powers at the relay. So I'm going to put this relay here. Okay. So this relay is good. We removed this relay. This relay is most likely bad. So we put this relay here. We know that this relay has 2 powers. The circuit from the control side of the relay all the way to this master switch is good. Okay. Oh, look at this. Haha. What does this tell you guys? Let me turn this off. What does this tell us? The test light is slightly illuminated. This is power flowing through the relay coil and making it up to this master switch. And this is another indication of a good circuit. So the circuit integrity here is good. Actually, let's do this. I'm going to remove this relay. Let's put this old relay on to see if that test light is still going to be illuminated. Now, the test light is now bright because we have low current there. Actually, hold on. Let's leave that on. Okay, let me turn the key on. Maybe the test light is gonna get bright with the key on. The key is on, but no, it didn't change anything. But our test light is glowing, okay? Let me turn this off. I'm gonna do this to see if this relay is bad. I'm pretty sure this relay is bad. We're gonna have to replace it because it has a hole on it. So let me disconnect this. Now let's install this relay. Okay. So now let's look at our test light. Test light is not glowing. So that relay is bad. The test light is not glowing with that relay on. So now let me remove this relay. So it looks like we're gonna need a relay and the master switch. So let's put the relay on. Okay, relay is on. Now let's see what we got. Test light glows. So this relay here is bad. So we know that the circuit integrity is good. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna remove our test light. We're basically done with our testing. Now I'm gonna reconnect my master switch. Let me see if I can do this one-handed. All right, I can't do this one-handed. I'm gonna get my master switch reconnected and then I'll bring you guys back up. I got my master switch reconnected. So now I'm gonna turn the key on. Let's see if the windows will work now. So same thing. Driver's side works. I can hear a click coming from that switch over there. Nothing is happening. So now the question is, since we know that this white wire with a green tracer is our control wire coming from the ECU inside this switch, what I can do is I can be the computer and send ground down this wire to see if this relay is going to get energized. Because right now the relay is not energized. That's why those windows are not working. So what I'm going to do now is, let me grab my back probing tool. I'm going to back probe this wire again. So let me grab my power probe ground. Let me see if I can. So when I do this, I hear the relay click. Listen. Do you hear that? I hope the camera is picking that up. And then, so I'm gonna send ground over here. So, hold on. Let me put my power probe over here. So bear with me, guys. I'm doing this one-handed. I'm gonna put my power probe over here. So now I'm gonna send ground on this wire. Okay, so watch this. Now our window over there is gonna roll up and down. Check this out. Watch there, watch. Our window is now working. Bingo. So what do you think is the problem, guys? So now I'm gonna try this one over here. Window goes down, window goes up. So I am using my master switch to roll the windows up and down. I hope you can hear it. You can hear the window go up and down. I'm using this switch over here. Okay, check that one over there. Okay, but if I disconnect this ground, I'm going to disconnect this ground. Watch, nothing happens. You hear the click, but the window doesn't go up and down. All right, so what do you think is the problem, guys? Tell me. So we're almost done with our diagnosis. So what do you think is the problem here? When we send ground down the white wire with the green tracer that goes from the master switch to the power window relay, when we send ground down that wire, the relay gets energized and then the windows start working. So what's the problem? At this point, the problem is the master switch. The ECU inside the master switch is not sending ground to the power window relay so that the relay can get energized and close the circuit to send power to the fuses that send power to each switch on each door. Okay, so this master switch is most likely bad. The ECU in the master switch is not sending the control to control the relay or to energize the relay. Now, since there's an ECU in this master switch, we're not just going to get another switch and throw a new switch at this. We have to check our powers and grounds. Just like any computer, you need good power and good ground for that switch to work. Now, you might say the driver's side window is already rolling up and down, so you probably don't have a power and ground issue. You would be right, but we're not just going to assume, we have to test. This is why we test and we don't guess, okay? So I believe this master switch has 2 ground wires and 2 power wires. We're going to look at the wiring diagram. Let's check our powers and grounds at the master switch. If the master switch has all the powers and all the grounds that it needs, then I'm going to go ahead and call Honda to get a brand new OEM master switch. So we're going to get a new master switch from Honda and a new relay from Honda. Now I'm saying OEM because this switch has an ECU in it. So I'm not going to install an aftermarket unit on this, especially since this switch has an ECU in it. So I'm going to go ahead and get an OEM switch. Now let's test our powers and grounds at the master switch. If we do have good power and good ground at the master switch, then I'm gonna call the Honda dealership so we can get a new master switch. Here is what we did at the master switch electrical connector. So this wire over here is what controls this relay. So when we send the ground down this wire, the relay gets energized, and then we have power at these fuses, and then our windows start working. So the problem is this ECU over here that's not sending ground down this wire to energize the relay. Now, the old relay that was here had a hole in it. When we put a different relay in this relay socket, this circuit worked. So the windows started working. Although we're missing ground over here, but the relay also has to be replaced. Okay, so now when we look at this master switch, since there's an ECU in the master switch, we're not just going to replace the master switch. We have to make sure that before we replace the switch is getting good power and good ground. So we have to make sure that this ECU is getting good power and good ground. As I'm looking at this wiring diagram, this ECU has 3 power supply wires, or the master switch has 3 power supply wires. So this wire over here, this is a fuse, comes down through the fuse box and to the master switch. So this is pin 10. This is a green wire with a white tracer. So this is a power supply wire to the master switch. And then there's another one here, pin 15. If we follow this wire, it's a white wire with a red tracer. If we follow this wire, it goes over here. Okay, it goes to the fuse box under the dash. It goes to fuse 7. It's a 7.5 amp fuse. Okay, so we have pin 10 and pin 15 are our power supply wires. So this wire here and then this one. Now if we look on this side of the connector here at the master switch, pin 16, green wire with a red tracer. If we follow this, it goes to this little MCU. So this is also a power supply wire, because if you look at it, there's a fuse over here that sends power down this wire. So this master switch has 3 power supply wires. Okay, and then these wires are control wires that go through the fuse box and go to the switches on different doors of the car. And then this over here is a ground wire. So ground here, and then this also is a ground. So the black wires are the ground wires. So these should be pretty easy to find. Okay, so this is a ground. It's a shared ground with the motor over here, with the window motor, and then it goes to the switch. Okay, so let's check these 2 ground wires first, pin 1 and pin 2. After we check the ground wires, we're going to check this wire and then these 2 wires over here. If we have good power and good ground at the master switch, then I will go ahead and get a master switch from Honda. Now let's check our powers and grounds at the master switch. We are back here at the master switch. We're going to check our master switch powers and grounds. So these 2 wires over here are our ground wires. So pin 1 and pin 2 are our ground supply wires. So they are black wires. So I'm going to back probe the first one. And then I'm going to use my test light. So I'm going to connect my test light to my back probing tool. And then this side of the test light is going to go to my power probe. Okay, so if I send power on this side of the test light, if there's ground on this wire, when I send power on this side of the test light should light. Watch this. So test light lights. So that's good. Our first ground wire to the master switch is good. So now let's move to the second ground wire, which is the other wire next to it. I hope you can see. And these wires are very easy to find because there are the only two black wires on this connector. So the black wires are the ground wires. And then we're going to do the same thing. I'm going to send power on this side of the test light. As you can see, test light lights. Now, I'm pretty sure that this switch has good power and good ground, but I'm just double checking because the driver's side window was working. Okay, so we have good ground. Both of our ground wires have ground, so that's good. So now we're going to switch to our power supply wires. The first power supply wire we're going to test is pin 10, which is a green wire with a white tracer. So pin 10, let me see if I can find pin 10. So this is 1. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Pin 10. And these wires are not even numbered. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So here's pin 10. Okay, and pin 10 is a green wire with a white tracer. Okay, so this is pin 10. So now I'm gonna use my power probe. We're gonna use the ground on the power probe. We're gonna connect it to this side of the test light. Okay. Now if I send power to this side of the test light should light. As you can see, test light lights. So our test light is connected to ground. So now I'm going to attach my back probing tool that's connected to the power wire of the master switch. Actually, I have to turn the key on to test my power wires. So the key is on. We're going to attach our back probing tool. If there is power on this green wire with a white tracer, when I attach my test light to this back probing tool, my test light is going to light. As you can see, test light lights. So that's good. The first power supply wire is good. So now we're going to test pin 15, which is red and white. Red and white. So there's one red and white here, which is this one. Let's see. That's not it. Pin 15. No, it's white and red. I'm sorry. It's white and red. White and red, so it should be this one. So white and red. As you can see, test light light. So I'm connected to pin 15, white and red. So white wire with a red tracer. So this is the second power supply wire to the master switch. Right there, test light lights. So our power supply wires are good so far. Now we're going to test the last power supply wire. I said that the third power supply wire was pin 16, but I was wrong. Actually, when I looked at the wiring diagram closely, our third power supply wire is pin 20. It's going to be this yellow wire. I'm going to back probe it. I'm going to show you the wiring diagram in case you have a question. So I said that this over here was our third power supply wire, but I was wrong. The third power supply wire is this one, this yellow wire that comes from this fuse. Okay, so let's check this. If that checks out okay, we should be good. So test light still connected to ground. I'm going to attach this back probing tool. As you can see, test light lights. So we're good to go. We have good power and good ground at the master switch. The master switch has 3 power supply wires and 2 ground supply wires. All our wires are good. We have all the ground that this switch needs to work. We have all the power that this switch needs to work, but it's not working. So this master switch has to be replaced. Okay, so I'm gonna disconnect this. Here's our master switch. All right, we gotta replace this. So I'm gonna call Honda so I can get a new master switch. Hopefully they have it in stock. Once I get a new master switch, I will bring you guys back up so we can install it. I ordered a new master switch from the dealer. They delivered it. A couple of hours later, here we are. We have received our master switch. Here is the part number. So we're gonna get it out of the bag. I had to get it out of the bag just to check it and make sure that they sent me the right one. So here is our brand new master switch from Honda. Okay, so I'm gonna put this one over here. This is the brand new one. I'm gonna bring up the old one. This is the old switch. We have to remove the old switch from this mount, and then we're gonna install the new one on this mount. So we're gonna undo this screw over here first. It has 4 Phillips screws that hold it on this little mount. And then there's another one over here. And then the last one right here. So now we can remove our old switch. Actually, I don't know if you can tell, there is actually a lot of dirt in the old switch. I don't know if you can see, but it looks like there's a lot of junk inside the old switch. You see that? Okay, so this is bad. We're gonna get it out of the way. So now we're gonna install our brand new one. Look at the new switch. So the new switch is gonna go right here, just like that. And then we're gonna start installing our screws. Alright, so we have installed our new switch on this mount. Perfect. So here's the old one, bad switch. I don't know if there's a core about this old one. I gotta call Honda again to see if there's a core charge on this. I don't think so because they didn't ask for it. Okay, so this is the bad one. We got the brand new one installed. So now we're gonna reconnect the electrical connectors. Just like that. Okay, so now it's the moment of the truth. I'm gonna turn the key on. I'm gonna roll the window. Okay, driver side works, so now let's try passenger side. There we go. Now, I hope you can hear the window go up and down. It's fixed. We're good to go. Let's try this one. I hope you can hear the window go up and down. That's it, guys. Now I looked around the shop. I found a Honda relay that I had. So this is the relay that was in the vehicle. This relay is not new, but this is a relay that I had in my toolbox. So we're gonna install this relay where the power window relay should go, where this one was. Okay, and then we should be good to go. So we're gonna finish this today. Okay, so this is fixed, guys. We're good to go. Right there, window goes down. I'm gonna roll it up. So we're good, it's fixed. We're gonna have another happy customer. Now I want you guys to check this back window. Perfect. All right, we're good to go, guys. This is fixed. The problem on this vehicle was a bad master switch. We installed a new master switch. Now we're good to go. So we're gonna put this back on. We're gonna make sure it's lined up, and then we're gonna push it down, just like that. All right, so that's it. We are back down here for the last time. I'm gonna put this relay back where it was. This relay was over here. And then this is the relay that I had over here in the shop. Okay, that's good. So now I'm gonna install the cover that covers the fuse box. All right, so everything is put back together. We're good to go. So now let's go install the switch on the passenger side door. We're gonna reinstall the window switch. We're gonna make sure that everything is lined up. Just like that. So we're gonna turn the key on and verify our repair. Key is on the dash. So now we're gonna roll the window up and down. Window rolls down. Nice. All right, so this is fixed, guys. We're good to go. I'm gonna leave this right over here. We're gonna have another happy customer. The windows on this Honda Odyssey were not going up and down. We fixed it. Now the windows are going up and down. The problem was a defective master switch. We have replaced the master switch. Now all is well. I hope you liked the video. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. If you don't like the video, give it a thumb down. But if you do, you gotta tell me why, so we can make better videos in the future. If this is your first time here, subscribe to the channel. Ring the bell so you can get notified every time I upload a new video. If you have any comments, questions, criticism, leave them in the comment box. Thanks for watching. See you next time.